Sometimes losing someone you love to an unfortunate passing can really be one to hurt. In mid-December, a few days before Christmas, a beloved uncle from my family passed away, and I never got to say goodbye to him. He was amazing, fun, and I loved him, and I'll always miss his cheerful attitude. However, just a few days later, we Thomas fans got some really devastating bad news, as 2 days after Christmas, Britt Allcroft, the creator of the Thomas the Tank Engine TV series, passed away at the age of 81, leaving behind a great legacy. Now, I wasn't planning on making a video like this. I was still working on my 2025 video plans when this news broke out on January 2nd. But I feel since everyone else is doing it, I might as well make my peace with Britt Allcroft and the show she gave us all those years ago. Let's begin. My memories on Thomas are pretty fuzzy, but I remember a few things that made me smile during classic Thomas. My earliest form of memory is being given the Thomas VHS Trust Thomas one faithful day, and I really enjoyed it. All the stories in one, like Trust Thomas, Mavis, Toby's Tightrope, No Joke for James, Percy's Promise, Henry's Forest, and The Trouble with Mud. All of them. The stories were laid out perfectly to introduce us all to the main characters in the series, with the exception of Edward, who didn't really have a big role in Season 3, as expected in this point in time. From there, I would see more of Thomas on home media, picking some of them up from this old mom-and-pop model train store that was in Torrance when I was born. Sadly, the store has since closed down and changed into different ones over the years, but it was the stepping stone to my interest in the franchise. There was also Thomas on the PBS series Shining Time Station. I don't really remember the first time I've ever seen Shining Time Station, but I do have recordings saved on a couple videos from when my folks would record PBS during the mid-90s. One video that was my favorite in the collection was called Arthur the Aardvark. This one featured multiple episodes of Arthur from its debut year in 1996, some episodes of The Magic School Bus, a partial recording of Sesame Street, and of course 2 different recordings of Shining Time Station. The first one was Field Day with the stories Percy Proves a Point and Thomas and Bertie's Great Race, and the other was The Magic is Believing with the stories Old Iron and Edward's Exploit. Looks like I got a perfect exposure to Edward after all, huh? Another video I remember having is a bit of a fickle one. It's notorious for jamming, and it's a tape I don't look back fondly on because of its gremlin-like status. But either way, it's got a good collection of Sesame Street episodes, as well as a few others, but the Shining Time Station episode is something else. Now, if you remember way back when, I uploaded this specific episode onto YouTube, and everyone and their grandma wanted to see it. It was the Season 3 episode, Billy's Runaway Train. It was the episode that was the first to be filmed in an outdoor setting, has a close shave for Duck as its Thomas story, and it was the video that was most infamous for having indistinguishable buzzy audio. I don't have the raw video for that anymore, but for those curious, it's still up on YouTube so you can see what I mean. Despite that, however, Thomas grew to me like wildfire. I would collect the toys, be it Ertl or Wooden Railway. I would get any new Thomas video that came out, especially when I got my first DVD player with Percy's Chocolate Crunch in 2003. And I would even collect the electric trains, which you can see in some past videos of mine. Of course, as we know, Thomas would end up going through some rocky moments. Thomas and the Magic Railroad unfortunately flopped by an extra $0.7 million. Hit Entertainment took over the brand and reworked the show to a new style meant for younger audiences. Computer animation was used for the rest of the show going forward, and yeah, I should stop there before I get people upset at me. In any case, I've always stuck with Thomas for all of my life pretty much, and despite some pretty dumb decisions from higher ups, it will always be my all-time favorite, if not my absolute favorite. It introduced me to trains so I can enjoy the real ones either in real life or as toys. It made me enjoy and made friends with people who would create Thomas videos on YouTube and other things, and it was just a great thing to enjoy, and it wouldn't have been made the same without Britt Allcroft. We in the Thomas fandom have lost so much over the years in terms of people who worked on Thomas, from Railway Series author Wilbert Awdry to director David Mitton, to comedian and American narrator George Carlin, to longtime UK narrator Michael Angelis. Many of these people have touched our lives through the stories of a little tank engine who lives on the island of Sodor. And with Britt rejoining many of her old friends up in heaven, I want to say thank you, Britt Allcroft, for giving me the best childhood I could have ever asked for. I will always be grateful to you and all of your friends. Rest in peace, Miss Allcroft.